running a little bit late. Monday mornings always interesting. So my name, my name is Nigel Mugamu. Some people call me Zenaj. My Twitter handle seems to have stuck. It's stuck for a while now. We represent, obviously I represent 263 Chats. We're the ones who convene this dialogue. The idea behind this was really, really simple. I'm still a little confused. Not confused as such, but I'm curious about how this is going to turn out. Obviously, Zimbabwe is 37 years old. We've been independent now since 1980, and we're still talking about peace. When we first started this project, I didn't actually understand. I didn't really get it. Quite honestly, I didn't really get it until we started going to the communities and understanding what peace means and what lack of peace means. So Joseph, our multimedia editor, will come in at some point. He's got an interesting story and some of the stuff that he captured, or they captured, the multimedia team, when they're out. And I'm glad that we've got a lot of young people here. Some of you guys are going to vote next year, I hope. A couple of smirks, a couple of smiles. You should register to vote. And obviously the theme today is around, what does peace look like, especially as we lead towards 2018. So this is just a general discussion. The format is really, really simple. It's not too technical. We decided not to use the PA system. I think this room is small enough. I think you guys can hear me at the back. So that's it's meant to be a conversation. No charts and presentations. It's meant to be just a general conversation. I'll introduce our panelists. I think they'll make an opening remark. I'll try and dominate the conversation for the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we'll get you guys to make some of your own comments and questions. Try and keep your comment as brief as possible so you can allow other people. Maybe introduce yourself, just give us your first name so we can at least know who we're talking to. Over here we've got Mr. Farai. He's the Executive Director of Culture Fund. I know sometimes in the emails, call me Farai, but it doesn't say it, but he's been calling anyway. And over here we've got another big brother, Thomas Musona. These guys will explain exactly who they are and what they've done contributed to this event. Thank you very much. So, yeah, go on. Who's going to start first?
I guess I'm kind of two. Okay, do I need to stand up?
No.
I'll speak. You can all hear me back there?
Yeah.
Okay. Not that there's much to be heard, really. Okay, my name is Thomas Musoni. I represent a company called the Thomas Musoni Practice. We were tasked with creating a campaign to try and understand what peace means to young Zimbabweans. And we've spent the last roughly 3 months in that exercise. And we've been collecting information and insights that have been pretty interesting, some of which you're going to see in the visuals that you gentlemen are here to present today. We are anticipating that the material we've collected can help to create a national dialogue that will help us to mobilize or activate young Zimbabweans as builders of peace and sustainers of peace. Okay, it's all very well for a conversation to be conducted amongst parents, but parents are parents because they have children, and children are the heirs to whatever the parents create. So if we spend our time creating peace but don't pass it on in a way that is meaningful to young people, then the person to whom it's being passed on will not appreciate what's being passed on. So we need to make sure that what we pass on is appreciated, understood, and valued similarly across generations to ensure that it's then sustainable. So this is what we are trying to achieve. The next phase of this campaign will be a series of intra-community, intergenerational dialogue. So it's within close communities, but between the generations, so that we then have a shared understanding in terms of language, in terms of values and ideas of what peace means, how it's achievable, and how we can ensure that it's sustainable. So that's essentially what we've been doing. The campaign is called A Youth for the Peace. We liked that. We thought it was a clever use of words, but it was the idea of it's a youth population that's full of peace, but it's also, if you know when you're cooking, sometimes they say get a handful, get a pinch, get an ounce. So we want a youthful of peace, okay? Because if the youths aren't in it, the peace means nothing. So that's where we are. I don't know if you've heard the radio program, if you listened to Star FM during the holiday, there was a program between 12:30 and 1 o'clock that spoke about these ideas. That was done by Shidi Mokina. I don't know who listens to Star FM. But I want to imagine some of you here might have caught that. But that's essentially what we've been doing, and this is, to an extent, the culmination of that whole process.
Well, thanks very much, Thomas, and thanks, Senaj. I think what I do fits in very well with what has been described by Nigel, being someone working with new forms of communication, using technology, and communication that at any given point takes a couple of people locally, physically, here, and broadly projecting it to people who are not here within Zimbabwe, in Africa, and beyond. So these are changing times in the way that what we speak, what we pronounce now, to what extent it goes around the world. So we were interested as Culture Fund, which is an organization that really looks at understanding culture, but culture in the modern era. Because culture is not tradition. Tradition is an aspect of culture. So culture is this sum total of things that is constantly moving, that is constantly changing, and also that is also constantly interfacing with other cultures. So as Culture Fund, this is our core business, to see how different areas of society work together. And then we design programs that respond to these various things, but in a very creative way, using the arts, creative innovations, etc. But in this particular program, we are what you call a community of practice, a community of partners. Ourselves, we are part of a community of the UNDP, United Nations Development Program, the government of Zimbabwe, working with the organ for national peace and reconciliation, which is now going to be a commission, and then also other entities that include the Ecumenical Church Leaders Forum and the National Association of NGOs in Zimbabwe, among others. So when we design programs to deal with, say, a subject like peace, as Culture Fund, then we have other partners who are experts in certain areas. So Senaj is an expert in communication, multimedia communication, but technology-based. Thomas and Sony Practice are experts in strategic communication, but also are experts in the area of promoting messages through, for example, advertising, campaigns, and other things. So if you look at the bigger question of peace and why you are important, is that we were aware that if you have deepening the foundations for peace and dialogue and social cohesion in Zimbabwe, there's so many things that are involved. The liberation war, employment, the state of how we relate to one another, and other things. But it can be a bit too complicated for us to have a conversation that involves everyone. And some of the things that allow us to do that in the country is the Constitution. But again, the Constitution is such a big, wordy, lawyer type of document. And many people do not really have a chance to read it. And so the area of peace is enshrined, or it's included in this document. But we're not wanting, especially young people, to be carrying around the Constitution and reading through its chapters. So what we did with this program is to work with experts who then advise us that what you can do is to find platforms where young people themselves can tell people like myself, the government of Zimbabwe, the United Nations, what they think peace should be. or peace is to them. And then it's up to them, those institutions, to then incorporate your voices into the bigger block. So if you look at it, you know, everyone has a part to play in building a peaceful country, but everyone really needs to contribute to it in their own way. So I'm really looking forward to having this conversation. And I was asking Nigel how it works when we're also having this conversation with people who are not here, not just in Zimbabwe but elsewhere. And what sort of things are we going to carry on beyond this 1.5 hours or 1 hour discussion? So I'll also, you know, clarify if when we carry on with the discussion.
Before we go, I'd like you to explain, for some, to explain what this is. This is a new symbol to a lot of people. What does it mean?
Well, I think I'll ask Thomas to elaborate more on it. But if you look at this banner and the banners outside, what you will notice is that the colors that are similar to colors of the flag of Zimbabwe. And the flag of Zimbabwe is also one of those things that symbolizes what we are trying to, in sort of a perfect state, what we want to, how we want to live our lives as Zimbabwe. So a flag is sort of encompasses all those different things that a country wants to be. So you guys are being the, so I'll let Thomas explain a little bit the creative aspect of how we move from this to what we'll show you later and what he's got later with the beautiful of peace.
This visual is the culmination of a process that went through a couple of stages beginning in the second half of last year. And the object, as Farah has pointed out, was to create or to come up with an idea for what would be a peace mascot, a rallying symbol for the whole country around which we begin to build our peace, and which when we see it, the same way when you see your griffin or anything else that you see, it means something to you that invokes a certain emotion that allows you to engage and begin to do what's needed in that space. Okay? So there was a wide conversation around what the mascot could be. Eventually, the Culture Fund engaged an eminent Zimbabwean designer. I don't know how many of us do art in this space. How many of you are aware of the work of Chaz Maviani Davis? Okay, you're aware of him, yeah. You know, he is considered amongst the top graphic designers in the world, and we engaged him to try and visualize the idea of peace, but set within a national identity and possibility sort of context. So naturally, he then worked with the colors of the flag, but deconstructed them, then reconstituted the ideas around the flag into this visual that we have here. And among the things we've been trying to do in the campaign, if you get onto the Facebook page, it's Youth for Peace. We have this, and we're basically asking a question as to what this means to you, or what you think, or what you feel. I'm thinking maybe I want to go a little bit interactive at this stage, because I don't want to tell you what this meant to us. I would like to hear from the floor, just looking at this, what ideas you are picking up from this visual. Yes.
Woman, the expression shows freedom. The white bird resembles peace. So something like that.
Okay, great. Okay, freedom and peace. Okay, it helps us understand what you are seeing, because this is meant to be a nationally owned symbol. Okay, so feel free to say exactly what you're seeing. Okay, so one person seeing peace in the dove, and a woman who is expressing freedom. Okay.
What does the red mean?
Or what could it mean? Yes.
I see it also has the colors symbolizing the flag, symbolizing that it's province Zimbabwe. The red for the bloodshed during the war, to get the freedom that we have right now. The yellow, the minerals that we're enjoying as Zimbabweans. And green, I think the environment.
Okay. Okay. So you are seeing all those things together in that space. Okay. Anything that you are getting from how they are organized around each other here? Yes.
What I think is that the bird is facing the
greener side, meaning we are trying to visualize ourselves in the future going to greener lands, which is basically a peaceful area. And behind us we're leaving the red shades, probably the pains that we had when we did towards peace. And us, ourselves, the carriers of peace, looking forward, going on.
Great. Great. Yes, you wanted to add to what he was saying?
Yeah, just pretty much similar to what I was going to say. The rage, bloodshed that you bring up, the dead people, that's all in the past. Then the green, that's the flourishment of the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's what we're looking at, it's where we're going. Okay? Any other ideas? Yes.
I think, as he mentioned, that the bed is looking forward to the green pastures. We want to leave the bloodshedding behind us. We want a future with peace, without bloodshedding, and the intellectual meaning is that we want to have a future with peace, with only peace, no star matters in the room.
Okay, great. Any, we'll probably take one or two more? Yes, sir. And then we'll, yes.
I also think all the different colors represent all the races in the country, in the sense we were united peacefully.
Okay, so there's diversity in there as well. Yes. We were, this is where we started. And how I ended up being asked to do the campaign was I came up with a clever statement and I couldn't help myself. And consequently I was asked to then take that message out. And when I looked at it, pretty much the themes that you gentlemen have identified came through. But I felt, for most people, when you have a picture, but for other people you also have to have some words that accompany it, so that you connect it to a statement. Okay? And for me, the statement was forged in conflict, perfected in peace. Okay? When you forge something, you put it into a form and it comes out a particular shape. But then you might need to rub off some edges and create something. So the country is forged here. That's where Zimbabwe came from, right? We fought in the anthem, it says, Yakazarwa Munemoto Wechimbe, right? So it was born or forged in this flame of conflict. But to perfect it, we need to take it out of the flame and go into a space of peace. And there we begin to perfect the idea. So the campaign, as conceptualized then, was to help us to identify how this perfection begins to happen. And the first phase of that was working with young people to hear what they understand peace to be, and then figure out how we deliver that to them and how they deliver it for themselves. It's one thing to be given something, it's another thing to create something. And if you are able to create, you value and appreciate it very differently from something that you are handed. Okay? So this is what we're trying to understand, if that puts us in the picture of what this is.
So we as 263 Chat then took these symbols and took the brief, and we went into the community and we started to generate some content around what peace actually means. Because initially when I met with my big brother here, I was like, what are you talking about? It's peace. There's no problem, really. But I've then come to realize that there's certain things, small things, and I'm sure you guys have small things in your lives as well. I'm a father. My daughter is 3.5. Mom is away with work at the moment, so it's just me and her. And she got a call from her best friend in school on Friday. So there was no peace at home on the weekend. I literally haven't slept a lot, so I'm not at peace. But our multimedia editor here, Joseph, has some interesting experience with this theme, and I think the one you wanted to share, when I was asking about.
Yeah. I was in Makonde, so a group of women under WA, a Rural Women's Assembly. It's
It's a group of women, different women. These are rural women, and they've come together and formed this organization where they support each other to do businesses, to do agriculture, but mainly it's more agro-based because these are rural women. And so in this meeting, I happened to ask one of the community leaders who is the headman in Makonde, and I asked him, how do you see this coming together, that is the social cohesion of women and peace itself? And very interestingly, he said, what I've seen is people need to rally around something together. Before these women, when they started this initiative, I just said, women, they just want to just meet and just be together. And he said he realized that after some time, he began to realize certain things that were not happening within his own community and with these women who were coming together and helping each other in the community, be it agriculture, be it different projects that they're doing and initiatives. And he said he started having responses because they meet as chiefs, they get people coming with different complaints. He said he noticed that some of the complaints that were coming were no longer coming. For example, domestic violence and stuff like that. And he was wondering what could it be. So he got interested in trying to find out why this was happening. So he then realized that as these women were coming together, their husbands were appreciating it, and they were even in terms of levels of income they had raised it, and so in terms of having problems or issues within the house, they were no longer, and so it reduced the violence and the peace which was not there. And the women themselves, as they were seeing these women coming together and supporting each other, even what was happening in the community changed in terms of interaction, in terms of almost everything. So he began interested in wanting to support them. So he was there saying he wants to support such initiatives where people can come together and rally around something that they've got common grounds around. And one particular interesting thing that he said was that myself as a man, I've realized that even as a culture, there are things that we have left that can help.
Let's try and make this as conversation as possible. Brother.
Thank you so much, Semaj, for inviting me to this event. When I was just seeing preparations, I just became curious to what was happening. But mine is a comment, probably a contribution, to say that I think what you are really doing is great work. You're doing well to try and work with young people, especially those that are still at high school, to try and inculcate a culture of peace. Because I think it is something that lacks fundamentally in our society, where there is a culture of intolerance, where there is a culture of people that do not appreciate each other based on a number of issues, political, tribal, class, and a number of issues where people feel I cannot associate with A, B, C, D because they belong to a certain, they do not share the same ideas that I do share. But I think we could even do more as an organization to try and identify probably some communities that are prone to, that have got serious issues of conflict. Especially if you go out in Harare, we talk about other areas. We have got communities where we know that there is acute violence. People fight over spaces of land. People fight over political affiliation. People fight over different things. So I think it will be good to actually deal with those things that are in those areas too, so that young people in those areas can understand that I may not agree with you, but I should defend to death your right to say whatever you want. Even if you don't agree, I should just, it's a matter of ideas. We should argue at the level of ideas, not at the level of how different you are from me. So I think that is my contribution, that if you could also try and move into such communities where we know that there is acute, serious issues of violence and where people do not agree and deal with young people from those communities.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I want to ask some of the, especially the young guys in here, you know, you guys are all what, upper six, lower six. Lower six. So what, next year is upper six, that's coming soon, right? So, you know, you got to study and you have exams at the end of the year. So this time next year, the jacarandas is here already, I'm not sure, you know, it's exam time. You know, what are some of your fears, or your concerns, some of the things that you're not sure about? As look, you know, right now in Zimbabwe, what are you not, what are the things that, you know, that you're worried about? I mean, I took some of you guys around, and you took an interest in the space. To say, oh, so if I could come and work from a place like this, you know? What are some of the issues that you're grappling with as young people right now?
First of all, they were going to school right now, right? And then after high school, there is that, there's varsity. After that, then what? Especially in this economy and stuff like that, people are worried. We're worried. What then? After you get that degree, that master's, that whatever, that course, then what? Then any jobs? Then we move out. People start to complain. Then what? Our future is now based on what we can do to change this economy. But are we being heard? It's not a fact. It's not known. We're not being heard in any way. People are crying for jobs, but what are you doing to create jobs? Okay?
So when you say you're not being heard, you know, you're not being heard by who?
If I could say, as young people right now, right, we look forward when we're done school to go to look for jobs, and then we get it just like that. But there's nothing. So we have to now create the innovative ideas, the dialogues to help the future people who are there. Right now, there is nothing. So we have to create something from scratch. And being heard, we have to be helped because we're still young and we're inexperienced. That's the fact indeed. So we have to be helped, like assisted in some ways, more than one, which I'm not sure of right now. But we should come up with something that should help us as Zimbabwe, like, to raise the standards high. Because we can't just be relying on the things that were left over by the previous generation and stuff like that. Because it's not going to work that way.
Can I ask you a question? Just, you know, you mentioned a point, an interesting point. How many of you want to leave Zimbabwe after you're done with school? And so, where do you guys want to go?
It's actually pretty simple. They're going to your pastures, be it wherever. It doesn't matter.
So the green there is where you're trying to go. And you don't see a lot of green in Zimbabwe right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a point?
Yeah, I say France.
You want to go to France?
Yeah.
Why France?
Because I'm a rugby player, and right now in Zimbabwe, like rugby is not being supported. They're not earning anything. They're just playing for nothing. So yeah, in France.
Any other contributions? That side of the room is very quiet. Contributions.
Just to support his point, last Olympics I was playing for a sports club, and I played almost all the matches, but I never got anything. So why would the saying is when I'm getting done, but if I go to France, I'll get something to live on.
So let me ask you this. Let me stand. So when you said you didn't get anything, what were you hoping to get? Money. Oh, it's money. Okay. So you want to get money?
Yes.
Did you ever express this to them?
Actually, you can't express it to anyone because of the courses that only the thing that are getting paid.
That's also a challenge. Is a question?
I want to, let me say, elaborate said you didn't get anything from the national federation, but I think the problem is we are not getting the chances that we are supposed to get. Let me say we put more efforts in playing, let me say sports, and then we don't get anything from that. For instance, we say he's going to Kenya or somewhere else to study after English. He is afraid that if he stays in this economy, he's not going to get anything after all his work is started. So it means that when the greener transfer, where there are chances, where he gets something after his studies, is much better than staying in the
So the past is not so green here, basically. So it's one of
Let's not make this a good story. But we don't get
the chances.
yes, greener pastures,
Yes.
don't get them easily.
Okay, why don't you get them? What's happening?
Let's say the people that are at the top,
Okay.
they are the only ones who just get those greener pastures. Who just get those greener pastures easily. For us people at the bottom, you cannot get those greener pastures easily. Because let me say, if you get the knowledge, you study, right, it will become much harder for you to reach the top.
And oh wait, there's a comment there. We want to ask you a question.
I think if we leave Zimbabwe, let's say we go to Canada, let's say instead of jobs, we won't be able to make Zimbabwe to reach those greener pastures because there won't be anyone to set those greener pastures. Because the only pastures we go to side going to other countries will be the solution.
So what is that's interesting. So everyone's going this way, you're going this way. So what is your suggestion? Some go, some stay. How do you decide?
I think staying is like better since we are the ones who can make Zimbabwe a better world more. We can empower ourselves.
I want to support them. I think if we have sponsors who are behind the youth is this campaign, and we get the chance to be heard, and we get exposure in something like that.
So let me ask you this, because someone mentioned this. This issue of I want to be heard. I want to be heard. When you say I want to be heard, what does that actually look like? Like, is it someone coming to your house? Is it someone coming to your school? Is it using social media? What is it? I mean, how do you want to be heard?
See, I think like what he's trying to say is like if you go in Bali right now, there are a lot of people who are maybe doing carpentry, welding. I think it's the government have to support those people. That's how we want to be here. We're saying something, we say yes, I can do carpentry, I can make doors. Support me.
So support is it in the form of please jump in whenever you guys want. Is it in the form of create a space? So for example, I took some of you guys around this. Government and other organizations should create or have a section where if you're a carpenter or if you're an IT guy or if you're this, you have a place to work. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And I think they should be the market for them like to express themselves in what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask, at school, do you guys actually have, we didn't have it when I was at school, career guidance. Is there someone in school who does it right now? Yeah. Sorry?
I had a different question. How many of you guys, okay, some of you have raised your hand showing you got plans to leave the country. How many of you guys, if you had the options and the resources available, would stay anyway? You would stay. Even if you had a chance to go overseas, the money was available, you'd be comfortable, you would stay.
You stay. Sure, I want to start my own broadcasting company. Because ZTV, as I look at it, it's not that much entertainment. I want to start my own company, like CTV. That would be similar to South Africa, where you can have a CTV 1, CTV 2, CTV 3. Not even a person who doesn't have a question decoder or a JSTV decoder. can look at CTV for free and have entertainment for the rest of the day without paying any charges. That's what I plan to do for Zimbabwe.
I'll ask you a further question. That's an important idea. How do you see that playing a role in taking the country forward? Or have you thought that far? You don't have to, if you haven't, it's fine, but I just need to ask that question. Okay, that's fine. But you've started a conversation that somebody could engage with you in and carry on. Who else is, yes?
As we always speak, we're in the modern area. We get social media, we got this and that. Like, if he does open this broadcasting company and we get to watch it for free for the rest of our lives, we can get some information, like for the rest of the day, some free information. And like right now, some cannot afford paying the DSTV or the Quest TV. So like they are left behind. But right now, if we got this broadcasting company, we're on the same page. And you know what's happening here and there and here and there.
And we're holding the same conversation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One more question. How many of you guys feel you really understand what is going on? I know you feel the effects, okay? You've all expressed you feel a little defeated, consequently you think you need to leave. How many of you feel you really understand what is going on? And how many of you feel that with proper information, possibly, you might feel a little bit more able to manage the situation? Is that question clear? Yes.
Right now I'm bombarded with answers. Okay, first of all, let me start from the bottom. There's no employment, which links back to no jobs, which links back to where it started, like the industries being closed, linking back to the shortage of money that we're having, linking back to where it started. They're not having proper documentation for money. Right now we're not using currency, we're using notes, which is not legal. It can't be used internationally, that's a fact. And for that to happen, we have to use legal money. There's certain documentation that we have to have, and that we don't have. That's why we're using bonds, bond notes, bond coins, anything like that. That is nothing, because we can't have trade, because actually right now we're being restricted to trade certain goods, certain products with certain countries because of the money that we're using. So actually everything links back to money, because every day I wake up in the morning, I think of what can be done to have proper currencies and get the trade ongoing so that we can generate income from the imports and exports that we're doing with other countries. Because right now, we're stuck, we're like stagnant in one position, we can't move back or forward. We're just generating more bonus, but until when?
Okay, right. Any other insights additional to that?
I'd love to hear from the ladies at the back.
Yes, sir.
Sorry? The first step to change Zimbabwe is to implement measures that will end the corruption. Currently, economy, there's a lot of corruption. Many people don't get chances to do the things that they like to do in life. We cannot achieve anything in Zimbabwe because of corruption. So we as the youth should think of the solution or the measures to end corruption. And also the leaders should also
Okay, now, there's just something that I picked up, okay, which we also have discussed as maybe mentioned. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the impression we've talked about, we get through high school, we pass O's, we pass A's, we pass college, we get a degree, and then our life begins. I don't know if that's generally the idea.
Yes.
Okay, what is this right now? What is this you're in the middle of right now? Whose life is this? Whose country is this? Okay. I'm just asking, I'm just curious. Do you think the education system or society has made it such that you don't feel like you're allowed to contribute until you get a degree? Would that be correct? Okay. So might there be a value system that says you start contributing from ECD You understand what I'm saying? The people whose stuff you're consuming started doing the stuff they were doing when they were where you're at. You understand? The Steve Jobses, the Zuckerbergs and so on, didn't have degrees. And some of them wanted to drop out of. Maybe that's something that, you know, that we unleash your power sooner than later. I'm just thinking that might be something that it's a conversation that we need to have. Because you are in the middle of your life right now. You might not live to be 30. And you've been waiting to be 25 to unleash yourself. Then you just get 5 years. And you've lost 25 years.
Well, let me ask additional question to what you asked. How do you think the education curriculum should change to enable you to achieve the things that you want to achieve?
I think the problem with Zimbabwe in Africa as a whole is that we're way too focused on education. Because some of us, right, there's some who are good at sports. And that's all that they know. But then the education system blocks us in the sense where even if we master English, we can do anything. And that's negative. Because there's some people who are born playing rugby. So I think they should be platform, like you said. Whereas from a very young age, we invest in what you're good at. Instead of just school, university, everything.
So, as a father myself, I've been watching my daughter very carefully since she was born, to see what she's actually. So I see her play with toys, and I think, oh, she likes these kind of toys. So like right now, she likes bright lights. So that you know, now I know. But as she grows, I'm going to help develop and nurture her. So what do you think? At what stage should people start nurturing people? Young, you know, when? Does it start at school? Does it start at home? How should we change it? Is it at primary school? Is it high school? What do you think?
Yeah, personally, I think because the same goes children begin to grow, so does the child's future. Parents, that's where it all starts from. School just specifies, it picks out the specifics and the individual kind of things that the person is good at and molds it. Now it's up to the child to finish off the job, to get where they want to get. But it starts at home. You just do your part, and then there's a part that the role that everyone's supposed to play. From parents to school to actually the person, the child. The child has also a specific role that they have to play.
So you're saying it starts at home? Anyone thinks it starts at school? Any other different opinions?
From my point of view, I think we should start doing what he or she is best at since from primary school. Because by the age he or she reaches, let me say, 80, for instance, he will be able to do what someone was doing, let me say, at high school. Let me say he or she is specialized in those people, they are put in society. The one who started to specialize
So I believe that there is a certain environment that you know who someone's future is. It's impossible for you to know that I'm good at playing soccer until I actually kick a soccer ball. And it's also impossible for you to know that I'm good at school until I start writing. Or good at talking, that you can say that, or a certain age that you can say that that's when you know that's what someone is good at. It just depends on where you are.
So it sounds like the school needs to provide as many options so that you can figure out what you're trying to do. Like you, my young brother here said you started at a young age. Okay. Oh, the ladies in the back, do they have any questions? Sorry?
Contribution.
Suggestions.
Suggestions. Songs. Chants.
Can I just, maybe just to follow on what you had been saying. When you look at all the answers you gave, would you say therefore that you are not at peace generally in Zimbabwe, that other countries, other young people are at peace in a way that you do not have?
Is that the general view?
Is that the same thing? When you look at all the frustration, I think you said you feel like this country is stagnant, there's no box in the compared to what? Compared to the other countries? But there are 193 odd countries in the world. Some of them go wars, some of them last month had hurricanes, some of them earthquakes. What generally do you compare it as peace with?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, most of you are talking about this is how you feel at school level. I passed school level, passed varsity, and I still don't feel the peace that I'm looking for. There are things that I find peaceful in Zim, which are the strength in Zim people, their personalities, their work ethic. What I struggle with is knowing that you go through the system and you still can't be guaranteed a job. You can't be guaranteed that my age will have a flat or a house. And I've been like in 2 countries where people my age, I will not mention, get to like already have a house. That they can easily follow like straight after school, go to varsity, get a job. They don't even have to go to varsity. Like someone was mentioning, they get to focus on like practical courses that aren't just English and maths and whatever, but they get to do mechanical or whatever. I feel like that's what would give you peace, knowing that you can actually, like I compare peace being able to live, I don't mean being rich and everything, but just being able to progress, the normal progression you'd expect by now, to be able to have a job, to have a home, to pay fees. Those are the basic things I consider peace for now. Every country has its issues, so for now that's my standard of peace. I would find peace.
I think that's very interesting. I think the young man said you want to go to France, right? Because you're a rugby player. Do you think when you get to France and play rugby, you get peace?
Yeah, yes, sir. Because what I'm playing rugby for is so that I can earn a living. I can have my own food to eat. I can have my own money to express myself. And in Zimbabwe, I don't have that. In France, I have my own home, my own car,
Well, it'll be interesting. I'm just saying that because when I was your age, I went to a rugby town in France, Toulouse. Toulouse is a big rugby. I did the rugby. But I stayed there in Toulouse, and the first thing I can tell you when I got to France when I was 17, 18, it was minus 30 degrees when I got there by train from Paris to the south of France. And I felt so and miserable. But young people today in France your age are complaining that they will never be able to buy a house. And young people in the UK are also saying they're so frustrated that they cannot see themselves getting a job and being able to get a job and to get a house. So it's interesting, I think, as we are talking, just to find out which countries you really think will provide you with the various notions of peace that you need. And that also includes, I think, the women at the back there as well. If you yes,
I think this goes back to the point that was raised by my little brother over there, where he suggested that it's pointless for us as young people to say that we want to run away from Zimbabwe and expect to get something better in France, in England, or in South Africa. Because I think for us, given the resources that we have as a country, given the space, the land that we have as a country, I think we have got all that it takes. I think what we need now is to get organized as young people to say, how do we then have a conversation with our elders to say, we are speaking as young people, we have got one vision, one goal, what is it that we want as young people? All of them mentioned that what they would have wanted, for instance, these young men, they are saying that what they want at 18 is for them, a Zimbabwe that will give them jobs, a Zimbabwe that will allow him to play rugby, a Zimbabwe that will allow him to choose if she wants to work or she doesn't want to work, she just wants to make money and put up the money. So I think what we need is, how do we come up with a vision as a country that we want to build, a vision that will allow us to have a Zimbabwe that we want, rather than to have the things that we want somewhere. Because there is no space, for instance, in China. The Chinese are coming to Zimbabwe. There is no space in Europe. The Europeans are coming to invest this side. But we are saying, as Zimbabweans, how do we unite and so that we create a situation that can allow us to have whatever we want within our country and have peace within our country, rather than running away. If we run away, who will solve this country? Because if you look at most of the young leaders, the leaders that we have today, no one ever planned, like for instance, we're talking about the liberation struggle. The youngest liberation general, the oldest general was Tobogara in 1980. He was 39 and he had commanded a war for 14 years. That means he started whatever he started at around 26. You're right. The other commander was Lookout Murphy. He was 40 in 1980. The oldest president was 57 by then, the Prime Minister, President Mugabe. But he had fought for 30 years, which means that he started doing whatever he was doing when he was a young person. So I think we need to realize the potential that we have as young people and say, how then do we converse with the old people to say, this is the Zimbabwe that we want, that's where we can start for it, build a country that we want, rather than running away. I don't think running away from the country is the solution.
It's interesting, I want to jump in there. So you guys said 80%, so 80% of the students here say, given the chance, they will leave Zimbabwe in search of green policies. And then someone responded on Twitter to say, just 80% only. The other 20% must be relatives of That was comment number one, and I like the fact that you guys love it. And then the other comment was, with the current economic environment, no one would want to stay in Zim and stand in queues for the money that they would have worked for in the banks. The money that's stuck in the banks. So the interesting comments, about what's happening. And I like what you said. I think maybe this is where, as young people, I wonder if there's, my family, when I look at the elders and elders.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.